Okay, it's the rundown, April 26th. It's your pal Clem. We got Robbie Fox. We got Glenny Balls. If you have girlfriends, wives with a wandering eye, you may want to send them away because this is the stud show right here on a Wednesday, presented by the Barstool Sportsbook, which we know and love. Have it on my phone right here. Tonight, I will be betting on all NBA underdogs, betting the spread with them because we have a chock full NBA night here ahead of us. We have Knicks Cavs, so I'm betting the Knicks. I'm betting the Lakers. We're betting the Sacramento Kings, and we're betting the Miami Heat with playoff Jimmy. We're going to have some fun on the Barstool Sportsbook. Hopefully we get some W's here. You can bet all your Barstool exclusives on the Barstool Sportsbook as well. The BEC is back, Glenn. We got the BEC back on the book, baby.
How about that? Best bet in sports, in my opinion. Most fun bet in sports. So hop in on that whenever it's up in the Barstool Sportsbook, BEC. First inning, no runs. My personal favorite bet in sports. 3 together, nice odds. It's a good time.
Yep, lots of fun on the Barstool Sportsbook. We love it so much. And the Barstool Sportsbook is now offering a $1,000 bonus for new players. If your first bet loses, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So download and create an account today. Use code RUNDOWN to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Be sure to use code RUNDOWN to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Terms apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, boys, let's get into it right now. Let's start off, like we just mentioned, with the NBA. We have the NBA playoffs last night. Couple hoops boys with me right now. Couple guys that love some round ball. Robbie showing you how they play the game of basketball right now. Kind of the big story of last night was Trey Young doing what Trey Young occasionally does in the playoffs. I think he's got a little bit of this ice Trey. He has a cool name vibe to him, and what he did against the Knicks after a couple of bad shooting performances. Nonetheless, guts the Celtics live on TV. Tough look for everyone involved. Did anyone here watch this live? We'll start with that to the class.
I was at Billy Joel, so I didn't get to catch it. But
okay.
I know Knicks fans like to say "fuck Trey Young." Fuck Trey Young.
Fuck Trey Young.
Fuck Trey Young.
Not a lot of indictment to this day. Not good indictment. Fuck Trey Young. I'm torn about this because as a Knicks fan, obviously, like you said, we fuck Trey Young. We hate Trey Young. But I also like to see when Trey Young or another Knicks villain does it to another fan base that was laughing at us 2 years ago when he did this, right? And he did the old ice Trey right on their, souls there.
Did that ever happen with Reggie Miller back in the day, Clem?
No, it didn't. This is the other thing, though. I think Trey Young, people try to make him into the next Reggie Miller. What Reggie Miller did to the Knicks is 1,000 times worse than what Trey Young did. You know what I mean? So I do think everyone's trying to, make this a rivalry, even though, that series was ugly 2 years ago.
I've oddly been to 2 Knicks games this year. I really don't go to Knicks games too often. I've been like 10 years. I went to 2 this year, and seems like it's kind of just a rally cry. People just scream "fuck Trey Young" just around the garden now.
Fuck Trey Young! Fuck Trey Young! Fuck Trey Young! Fuck Trey Young!
And I love that. Like, uniting around a common enemy is great for any sport, especially for basketball. Like a couple years ago when LeBron was coming and he was like, "I own the Garden" or whatever. Like, that is such a rallying cry for the fan base that I love a villain in sports. Like a Grayson Allen in Duke. Like, he was so good for college basketball because it made everyone pay attention and root against him every match.
I also feel like "fuck Trey Young" is like literally the Knicks fans roll tide now. You walk by,
yeah.
It starts, and I know, like, Hawks fans, they kind of love it too. They're like, if we're good and they don't boo nobodies, right? So the "fuck Trey Young" thing that happened with after games 3 and 4 when the Knicks fans are going bananas on the streets. Fuck Trey Young is like, it's that Katie, don't you wish you came to the Knicks? And then they kind of just play the hits. A couple guys will throw some bing bongs out there still. By the way, bing bong being just from last season, that feels at least 3 years ago. Am I I'm not alone on that, right?
Bing bong feels like it's been a Knicks rallying cry since I was born.
So that was kind of the big thing last night. I know I bet our boy Greeny's going through it today and is wondering if the Celtics are ever going to win another game, but that's coming up in a couple days. We have Knicks, Nuggets, T-Wolves, and Suns, Clippers, both advance. Honestly, as I ended up watching that Trey Young, the end of that game when they had their comeback. These 2 games, I honestly could have cared less about. I don't really know. I have really nothing to add on this. I will say,
I was talking Knicks for a second. I got Knicks fever.
Okay, so on to tonight. We have, like I said, 4 games in 3 hours, basically starting in 3 hours. Knicks at 7, Lakers at 7:30 in Memphis. I think Heat Milwaukee at 9:30, which is I believe 8:30 Milwaukee time, right? And then you have Kings Warriors at 10 o'clock. It's going to be an absolute zoo tonight for NBA. Then tomorrow, Celtics are by themselves with the NFL draft, which I don't know. The NFL draft, it's fun. I love the draft, but I think having more games tomorrow night would have been the better move, right? I think we could have spread this out a little. I think it would be sensory overload tonight. We got some Knicks boys here.
So as a massive Knicks fan, Clem, we want the Heat to take out the Bucks tonight, and then Knicks Heat back on.
Yes. So this is kind of going back to the Reggie Miller thing here. I hate the Heat more than any team in basically like in the NBA. When the Bulls used to kill the Knicks back in the 90s when I was a kid, that was just Michael Jordan. You tip your cap. Reggie Miller was just an all-time great villain. And, you know, the Knicks kind of would go back and forth with them. What the Heat did to the Knicks and took away the last shot at Jordan that they probably wouldn't have won. But I will never forgive the Miami Heat. And then obviously they got LeBron. Pat Riley's still there doing evil Pat Riley shit. He has this like voodoo dark magic that just keeps the Heat in the fucking playoffs every single year. I don't know if I can root for them. And then I watch Giannis do Giannis shit. I'm like, yeah, I don't want a part of that guy. Playoff Jimmy is a bad motherfucker, but Giannis has won a ring, right? So if he's healthy or gets healthier as these playoffs move along, I'll take my chances with playoff Jimmy, especially because Hero and Oladipo are hurt. So I think we got to root for the Heat, Glenny. Plus, then you get those vibes back, those two jerseys going against each other. It just feels right.
I mean, the games I've watched this year too, the Bucks are just like a fucking perfect basketball team. They're like a perfect team.
Yep.
So I mean, as a guy with Knicks fever, I want no part of that. Bring back the Knicks rivalry, and then after what would the next round be? Probably Celtics Sixers.
Yeah, Celtics Sixers.
That sounds like it could go 7. And then we get a tired team out of there. Then Knicks go to the chip, and Knicks win the championship, and then I get a cut when I fall down the steps. What happens? Orange or blue comes out.
That's right. Fuck Trey Young.
Fuck Trey Young.
That's
right.
Bing bong.
Oh, I love the Knicks boys on the rundown today. So that's a good point. I said every Knicks fan, as they root for the Heat, they are the Alonzo Mourning gift. They're just like, I can't believe we're rooting for the Heat, but they beat Giannis. I'll fucking take it. So lots of hoops tonight here for the boys. We're all going to be excited, dialed in. While we're on the playoff topic, this isn't in the sheet, but I want to ask you guys, because you guys are both huge Rangers guys here. Give me the ball scale. How do we feel going into this best of 3 now against the Devils? And it's 2 or 3 in Jersey, right?
2 or 3 in Jersey. I'm pretty confident about it, though. I mean, I think the Rangers are just better, and they haven't showed it the last 2 games. And I'm always a big water always finds this level guy.
Mm-hmm.
We can't play much worse than we have. I think we turn it around probably and win it in hopefully 6. You know.
I think winning 6. Devils haven't been great at home this year. Rangers have been great on the road this year. Chris Kreider's been a god in the playoffs. And I want Frank the Tank to be in the building. He's not going to be in the building on Thursday because of the NFL draft show. I think the Fleming curse has an effect on the series. He gets in the building. The Rangers get a little more motivation, score a little more goals, and you get those blowouts like the first 2 games.
I mean, money where your mouth is, Bob. Would you buy him tickets to like a game 7 just to get him in the bulding?
Fuck yeah. Devil
Right.
and the Rock too. What are they? $20 a piece? That piece of shit Newark Arena.
Doesn't the Tank have season tickets anyway? He probably has all the tickets.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Frank does have his season. So I love obviously hockey isn't like the sport it is compared to these other sports we talk about here, but the hockey at Barstool is some of my favorites. Like you guys versus Frankie Borelli, which I guess is its own thing. The Frankie Borelli reactions are, I mean, like maybe one of our low-key best things we have at Barstool.
This was caught up by Pelican. Burns hoping for a tip in front. Well, seen it blocked instead. Slavin. He's still no! And the Hurricanes come right back and have tied the score at 3.
And now Stu Finer's menu that he eats every night before the game even starts, he has like 6,000 calories in him. It's must-watch entertainment every single night out. It's incredible here.
It really is impressive how Frankie that's crazy.
We all follow different sports teams, and like obviously football, I feel like 16 games or 17 games now, you can kind of like get your rage out, and then the playoffs are one and done. I couldn't live like Frankie with like an 80-game season and best of 7. He's doing this in the first round of the playoffs. He has like 4 more rounds to go if everything goes right, or 3 more rounds to go. So it's must watch every single night out. So Give me Islanders predictions too, just because you guys are both Islanders
They're
haters.
done. Next game, they're done.
They're good. Okay.
I mean, I would like them. I would like them to lose, but I can't lie. If we were lucky enough to win too, Rangers Islanders would be a fun little series.
That'd be incredible.
That's going to be the next round if the Rangers.
they both win.
I'm a Rangers fan, and I'm weird with the Islanders because I'm a Mets fan, and we kind of share some DNA there. Obviously, I don't want to make my people upset. I root for my people to be happy, but I kind of got to see the live streams, Glenny, Frankie, and just
if they both won, it would be Rangers Islanders. I would enjoy that very much.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that'd be pretty good.
gosh. Stu Finer in the mix as well. It's just a straight.
And also, Dave tweeted it. Mr. Borelli is the perfect straight man for Frankie. Last night, the clip of him being like, Sorokin's a wall, and then immediately gets scored on. And Mr. Borelli's just like, oh man, like laughing about it. Frankie's like, how could you do that, Dad? Mr. Borelli obviously realizes the ridiculousness of the situation, can laugh about it. It's great.
It might be my favorite thing we do at Barstool is the Borelli reactions either at the restaurant or from the games. And I don't want to speak out of pocket here. I've never met the woman. I feel like Mrs. Borelli must be an absolute psychopath because Mr. Borelli's so straight. So where did Frankie get this from? I don't understand where Frankie got this. And again, the 10th time I met Frankie, the quietest kid. And then the first time I heard about the story with the DiPietro sign, and you start peeling back the layer, and you're like, oh, you're just Frank the Tank with a Frankie Borelli coat over your face, like a fresh layer of paint. He's
more positive Frank the Tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Devils Islanders would actually be low key crazy too. Frank versus Frankie. It is a steel cage match every night out. Have we ever had that before?
I don't think so. Not in the playoffs.
Boys, I'm rooting for
By
the
the way,
Rangers.
you know what?
That's a good consolation.
You know what the absolute cute? Can I just say one thing? I know they're currently the enemy. You know what the absolute cutest thing of all time is?
What?
Just how much Frank loves Jack Hughes.
Oh, he does. I said that to him the other day. I was like, is he untouchable in your mind?
He's he's like he's child.
He goes, oh, he's something special. I was like, what the fuck? That sounds unnatural out of your mouth.
He loves him so much.
Yeah.
And frankly, it makes me love Jack Hughes because he just loves him so much.
I blocked Jack Hughes on Twitter the other day. I was tired of seeing his stupid Chipotle ad.
Oh man, I've never heard Frank I'm trying to think of a player Frank has ever said he likes, let alone loves or adores. Every Met, Lindor.
Yeah, even Jacob deGrom when he was on the Mets was the best pitcher in baseball, and he hated him.
Oh man,
Jack Hughes. It is cute to see how much Frank loves Jack Hughes. He loves him.
He loves him.
Oh man, speaking of someone that is loved, hated, kind of everything in between. Hell of a segue there, Clem. Elon Musk, his burner account might have been revealed. There were screenshots on Twitter. Basically, I think he took a picture of his account and it showed that little bubble if you have another account that you log into. And the internet does what the internet does, crack the code, and it's at ERMN Musk, Elon Test. And basically he acts like he's like a 3-year-old child. He interacts with people. He was chirping the FTX guy's girl, the librarian looking chick, stuff like that. Elon hasn't said anything about it, which Elon usually is the first to address all this kind of stuff. So what do you guys have? Robbie, what do you have on Elon here with his burner?
Oh, weird. I went to it right before the rundown and just scrolled through the tweets. And like you said, he'll have the replies. But if you just look at his general tweets, he's got 10, 12. And they're all like, will somebody please follow me? Please follow me. Ugh, I don't have any followers. Got 1 follower today. And then one is turned 3 years old today. And it's his profile picture is a picture of a little 3-year-old. Very fucking strange. Just if you have a burner to like tweets, if you're Elon, I guess I get it. If you're tweeting from a burner, I think that's strange. If you have a burner just to read the timeline and not have to read Elon's mentions, whatever. But his tweets were fucking weird. But I guess that's par for the course with Elon. He's a weird guy. He named his kid like a robot.
Yeah, that's true. If it's his actual 3-year-old, the kid could be a robot. He might actually be in the Matrix right here. He's not even an actual human. Glenny, what do you have on Elon, just in general or in this?
Just
particular?
any rich guy that has a burner, I think is a certified crazy person. So I'm not a fan of him. And this is another example of this. You're simply too rich to be caring about having a burner account.
Yep. One of I made a real I've strided to go on Twitter the last 6 months when I realized my brain was straight up I feel like our brains look like, after being on, the internet so much, social media in particular, I feel like they're going to look at our brains before and after this is like before you started smoking and after you started smoking for like 30 years. And I've tried to like peel off. If I didn't have to do it for my job, I would be on Twitter a hell of a lot less. And obviously Elon in this case is like the head of Twitter. He needs to be on it. But if you're rich as shit, like you said, why the fuck would you be on Twitter, let alone have a burner account? I will say this, Elon test, as someone that used to work in like the like testing industry for apps and websites and shit, sometimes you do have to do stuff, and people are saying he might be seeing like what kind of shit if a kid gets on Twitter and lies about his birthday or puts his birthday in, and just kind of seeing how the algorithm treats like a 3-year-old child's tweets and stuff like that. That's probably, Elon is he has no shortage of defenders out there, but still just fucking weird, but like par for the course for Elon basically at this point, right? And Robbie, I said this the other day in my mom's basement. I went into all this really not having an opinion on Elon other than like, if Trent doesn't like him, I probably don't like him. It's like a dog just telling you, they're telling you he's a bad person. I fucking cannot stand this guy now, man. I was so much happier before Elon was in my life. And like you said, Twitter's so important to our lives here at Barstool. It's like a big thing we use a lot on a daily basis. I cannot stand this fucking guy at all. So fuck him. Moving on.
Having him in our lives as much as he is just annoying. Having anyone in your lives as much as, Elon is in our daily timeline is like, all right, enough about this guy.
Yep. Agreed. On to the guy who I think most people love, but he's kind of taking some hits here. Our guy, Morgan Wallen. I believe is it Morgan Wallen versus Aaron Rodgers is the current debate that goes on in the office all the time. Like, who's more famous, and everyone just digs their heel into the sand. Over the weekend, he canceled the concert at the last minute due to a voice issue. At least that's what he claimed. Video leak security guard saying losing his voice is bullcrap, and that Wallen was too drunk to perform. And then obviously his team came back saying that's all bullshit. Robbie Fox, our rock star on the panel here. What do we make of this entire Morgan Wallen situation? Because I'll tell you, boys, I am way too old. I missed the Morgan Wallen thing. He's a country guy, right?
Yeah. He's like huge country guy. So, country guy.
So
the country guy.
Yeah.
Like he's like almost like, I would put him near like Drake level popular in like the music world.
Yep. I actually went on my phone today. I was trying to learn some new music. This is how I find out new music. Apple Music, and I just went into like top 100 in the US, and he was like 3 of the top 10. I'm like,
no, dude, well, we just had him on Sunday. His new album is 36 songs.
Yeah.
All bangers.
That's like, too much. Too much.
Yeah. Like, Clem, listen to One Thing at a Time. It's a banger. Great song.
One Thing at a Time. Glenny approved. Is that a 5 balls? Perfect ball score on that one?
It's I would say it's on pace to be my most listened to song this year. So maybe.
Okay.
It's just so catchy. Such a good song.
I love Glenny doesn't give the 5 balls away either, too.
Yeah, he's like, let's not go there. Yeah.
There's only one song in history that gets 5 balls from me.
Which Billy Joel song?
Scenes from a Time.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. Fair enough.
Now, Morgan Wallen, he's getting into trouble every few months, it feels like, so it's tough to give him the benefit of the doubt. At the same time, there is part of me that believes he could have lost his voice, and it could have been a minute-to-minute decision of him being like, I think I could do the show. And his team being like, I don't know, dude, like, you'll have to cancel your next 3 shows if you blow out your voice on this show. So the weird thing, me and Glenny were kind of talking about it yesterday in the office. Weird thing is his openers went on. So if you're at the show, you're just getting more and more excited as the openers are doing their set. You're like, oh my God, we're 20 minutes from Morgan Wallen? And then right before he takes the stage, they just put on that little thing that says Morgan Wallen will not be performing tonight. I think a better move would have been, if you really lost your voice, walk out on stage and say, guys, I'm so fucking sorry. We're going to reschedule this show, but I can't perform tonight. Like, I apologize. Took it to the last minute. Them putting the message on makes it shady. They also had a leaked video of his sound check, and people were like, he sound checked. He sounded fine. So obviously he was, his voice was okay. That's not always the case. Like, virtual sound check is a very real thing where the person's not always on stage sound checking.
I like to look at that little bit behind the scenes there. And like, Robbie's a music expert plus an actual musician who's had a few sound checks in his life. Glenny, how are we feeling right now? This is your boy here. I mean, we're talking number 1 current song in your life.
It's a great song. I mean, once again, when he did, all I could speak of is when I met him before. He's a great guy. The times I met him, like when we did Sunday, he was great. But yeah, I don't really know. Bob knows more than me about the music industry. That could very well be a thing. I really don't know. I was not there.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think it. So when I saw this story when it first came out, and they're like, "Oh, he canceled," blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, it sucks," but whatever. It is what it is. I forget that. Like, I don't go to concerts all that often. I enjoy them whenever I go. It's just I don't seek them out. Getting that, like, we're getting worked into a lather where you go, you're tailgating, then you have the openers, and you're full blown, like, you're basically edging the crowd right there, and then you just leave them. You just put the dick down, and you said, "Nope, we're not going to come right now. We're going to all go home. We're not listening to Morgan Wallen." That's fucking rotten. But like you said, Bob, I think if the guy comes out sounding like Darth Vader after his fucking voice box got destroyed, then you'd be like, all right, well, shit luck. We'll see you here next time. He's trying to rectify the situation, right? He's offering refunds or whatever. I mean, you have to offer refunds. But is there a way they could, like, give a refund and then, take a little off the top here, and then when they go back, they're even getting a little bonus? I mean, the guy's going to play his dick off the next time he's there, right?
Also, if you got a refund, you got a free Hardy and Ernest concert. Hardy's fucking awesome too.
Okay, there we go. I like that, Glenny. And yeah, listen, I don't have the full guest list in front of me, but if you go on Sunday Conversation, I think you're a pretty fucking good person. I don't think you'd have it in you to cancel it. Like, you're sitting down, you're going into the belly of the beast with Caleb looking you across there with this fucking thing. Glenny's eating a fucking sundae right next to your ass. I feel like you have to be a pretty good person. I don't think he has it in him to do that. And that's coming from someone who doesn't even know who Morgan Wallen is. Just an old fucking. It's going to listen to that. What's the song again, Glenny? I have to get it as soon as we're done.
One thing at a time. It's an absolute banger. One thing at a time and last night.
Okay. Next story up, blogged perfectly by whoever blogged it on the site. New Jersey Little League is forcing parents who confront umpires to suit up, and they have to umpire 3 games before they're allowed to return as spectators. This is the Deptford Town Little League. So basically, you go in, you start yelling at the umpire, give them shit. You then have to throw the mask on, put the pads on, and you have to do this 3 times before you can go back and watch your kid play. Because, again, people are going crazy here. Glenny, I feel you're itching here. Give me your take.
This is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my life, dude. You can't have a crazy dad umping. Number one, that makes no sense for the kid. They're not going to get correct calls because these fucking crazy parents will probably call strikes or balls for their kids. And number two, it's irrational. Clem, you're a dad. And are your kids old enough to play sports yet?
So AJ just started T-ball last Saturday. We had our first T-ball practice.
Either way, I'm sure growing up, we've all seen the parents at the games. You can't have these guys got to be kicked out. They shouldn't be getting in the game.
Glenny, let me correct your thinking here. I think you're on the right path. However, I know I blogged a few. We've had a few in the past. You see these people on our website all the time where it's like they cause fights, they're screaming at people, they get ejected. And Robert Ory got ejected from his kid's high school game recently, right? Like, this happens a lot. Do you prevent that stuff from happening? Because then you're going to then have to ump. And these umpires are usually volunteers. You then get these guys to be the volunteers. And then when they get yelled at by the parents for being shitty umps because they're not umpires, those parents then are your umpires. And you basically have free labor for the rest of the season because everyone's yelling at and the kids are the only one losing because they just have shitty umpires who don't know how to call ball strikes and who's safe.
Honestly, you should just be able to call a private vote within the league, like a vote within. And if someone's that crazy, they get exiled. They can't come to the games anymore.
So fans.
So my thing is, it's tough to enforce that unless you're calling the cops on these people and being like, we can't have them at the games. I was thinking, I love this idea. Like, let's humiliate the parents that are assholes and basically treat them like children. All right, here's your punishment. You got to do that. Now, I can see a crazy parent being like, that was a fucking ball, that was a strike, whatever. And then being like, you got to ump 3 games now, and being like, I'm not doing that. And he just shows up to the next game as a fan again and heckles the ump again. But I love treating the asshole parents like the assholes that they are. My dad was an umpire in Little League for years, to the point where he wanted to be like a Little League World Series umpire. He made it to the Little League Girls World Series, did games on ESPN. It was a whole thing. So I had an extra hatred for the parents that would yell at I would be like, it's my fucking dad, don't say that shit, as a little 6-year-old kid. So if you yell at an ump, I hate you. And Glenny was an ump. He's faced this.
I do also think, Robbie, what's even worse from you're saying your dad was doing this, at least it was like your dad at the point. When I was growing up playing baseball, it was like the umps were mostly teenagers. They were kids that we knew. They were they're people in our grades, older brothers. And the fucking crazy dads would still yell at them.
No, that's tough. My brother, when he was a teenager, took up the blue shirt and everything, and he lasted one game. Parents yelled at him, and he just left. He was like, "I'm leaving. I'm done."
They're crazy people. They should be illegal.
Your brother tried to follow the family business, and he had to get his ass out of the kitchen. It was too hot for him, huh?
Yeah, he was like, "I'm not. It's not worth being yelled at over a fucking little league game."
Yeah, it is one of those things where, and I think like I'm pretty sure, like Glenny said, it's a lot of just young kids. It's like not a lot of adults, or especially the little league stuff. Maybe when you're getting into high school, and even then you have people who get really crazy because everyone thinks their kid's the next Mike Trout or is going to be the next fucking Shohei Ohtani. It doesn't fucking matter. It's absolutely preposterous in this world the way it's gotten. And I went to that first T-ball practice last week, and all the coaches are volunteers or whatever. They're just dads people who don't even have kids there. They're like, I used to have kids and I want to pay it forward. And I'm like, God bless you. Because I get annoyed yelling at my one kid, right? I'm like, AJ, settle the fuck down. If I have like 10 other kids that aren't mine and you don't have that love because, you came out of my body once upon a time on a bachelor night upstairs, like, it's crazy to think that these people just do it out of the love of their heart, the love of the game, love of just the, paying it forward, all that kind of stuff. Robbie's dad just trying to make it, on the big time here. So I kind of like the idea. Tell me if you think this is crazy. I think we should expand this to everything. Like, you want to give teachers shit? Go teach a class. Teach a class for one fucking period and deal with 20 teenagers and see how you feel after that, let alone like
walk in my shoes program.
Yes, the Walk in My Shoes program. We even have a name for it. Good call, Bob. Because think about all the stuff that people get, like, especially, go to McDonald's and you're yelling at some, kid making minimum wage. Go work the fryer there. See how long you last behind there. And it's like, I just think maybe the world will loosen up a little bit when you walk.
I got a question for you, fellas. What do you guys think is the worst scenario? The parents at the ball games or the parents that, let's say, their kids being a fucking dick at school, they tell the parents the teacher tells them at like a parent teacher conference, they say, no way, could it be my kid?
Ooh,
What do you think? What do you think is the worst? What do you think is the worst one? Both parents stink.
Both parents stink, but I think the ones that are saying that can't be my kid are setting their kids up for like a horrible like
bad
future.
Kids. Yeah.
Yeah. And also like potentially putting other like innocent kids at risk of being bullied by your shithead kid because you didn't believe it.
Yeah. That's the good thing about me. I will never say that about my son. My son is always.
Tell you what, the people that say that couldn't be my kid, their kid grows up to yell at umpires.
Yes. And then he'll have to hopefully umpire. And this is the low-key worst part about having an umpire. Those games are terrible, dude. I haven't like little league games in our minds. We were all playing fucking major league level baseball. It is like swinging on a tee. They can't even hit off a tee, let alone once you have the little slow pitching and they're just missing. There's no strikeouts because everyone would strike out. That's almost like I'd rather do community service picking up garbage on the side of the road in like an orange jumpsuit. People think I'm like an ex-murderer who's just out on fucking parole for the day. So all in all, great idea from Jersey. Shout out Jersey Bob here. I know it's a win for your state. Last one here, and this I was kind of gonna wrap it up with saying almost like flight attendants too taking shit. You go fly across the country and having drunk people yell at you, worrying about fights, worrying about whatever. I think those people can kind of another walk in my shoes program. Well, these people completely fucked. American Airlines passenger peed on another passenger. It was from New York to India, 15-hour flight. Guy pisses on a guy. Not really sure why. There wasn't really any reason why. The crazy thing is, this is the third time since the end of 2022 that a person has pissed on another person on this route between New York and Delhi, India. So I feel like airline craziness always plays at Barstool, and this is just the latest example of it here. What do you got?
It's like so ridiculous so that I don't even want to talk about it.
What?
It's so ridiculous. I don't even want to have a take about it.
Glenny, you're a big flyer too, so you fly all across the world, all across the country.
I fly all the time, yeah.
So you're currently in the air. Have you ever been like, I kind of want to piss on this person right now? This girl's country.
No, never.
It has to be people drunk, right? In my mind, when I read this story, I'm like, is there any chance it was not someone being like, I'm going to whip out my dick and piss on this person? They're just passed out drunk, man spreading a little bit. They piss their pants and it gets on the other person.
I guess. Because also logistically, like if you're a drunk guy, let's say the aisle stands up, he's only got to turn around, stand up, take his pants down, and just point it at someone.
Yeah.
That happened.
That would be crazy. That would be savage.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it said whether or not he was pissing like at the guy, but he pissed on the guy, right? Those are
The same route too. What's up with that? Is it the same guy? Is there like we
It's
get
a
the
15-hour flight,
the
maybe.
piss
It's a long
bandit?
time.
So last month it was a 21-year-old student peed on a business class passenger. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like fuck
Freshly
business class.
21,
Yep.
couldn't handle his alcohol.
There we go. We cracked that code. We cracked that case real quick. No details on the third incident, and then obviously this one here. I mean, it's a 15-hour flight, but like you tell me New York to Vegas or something, or a party route, right? You're going to New Orleans or something. Not saying Mincy's a serial pisser here, just to be clear. But something like that would make a little more sense than, because there's New York to China. New York, it goes around the whole fucking world. That's one of the best things about the city here. That does feel kind of weird, or at least this is the ones that are being reported. And then there's like, are just people pissing on each other all the time? Glenny, you're up there in the skies. Tell me, is this going on? No, we just don't know about it.
You know what made me think? I do like I'm no big deal. I'm a Delta Diamond Medallion member. I travel a lot. And I haven't like seen much.
I had an issue on my flight back from Abu Dhabi when I went there for the UFC fights. It was the UFC charter plane, and the guy next to me got a little too drunk. He was someone's coach or cornerman, and he got wasted on this flight. 18-hour flight, Abu Dhabi to Las Vegas. He spilled his drink. His drink was on the tray in front of him. Fell asleep, spilled it directly onto my sock.
Ooh.
I only had one pair of socks in my carry-on, so I had to go to the bathroom, try to like fan out my sock, press it down with paper towels. I was on an 18-hour flight with a wet sock. And that is, in my opinion, just as bad as getting pissed on. I would rather you piss on my lap than make my sock wet for an 18-hour flight.
Wet socks are, that's one of the worst things that could ever happen to a person. I'm sorry that happened to you, Robbie. I truly am.
It's traumatic event.
I got another bad question there for you, Clem, just thinking about this.
Yep.
Piggybacking on what Robbie just said. That made me think of a time I was at Shea when I was like 10 one year, and I was opening a mustard, and the packet just fell over these girls in front of me. And I just got mustard all over them. And I was, I don't know, 10 years old or whatever. Have you had and like I was just there with my dad, which I'm assuming, thinking back now, he must have felt so fucking bad, such an awkward scenario. Have you had awkward stories with your kids happen like that yet?
I try to avoid my kids in public as much as possible. At least my little guy, Sienna, has always been a goddamn gem, so she hasn't really given me much. It's just like, the screaming or the like jumping around. And always, if they bump into someone, the thing is, if it's another parent, you're like, you've been through this before. You apologize profusely. That's the one thing that drives me crazy about the airline stuff, where everyone's crying about babies. It's like, yeah, babies cry a lot, but like their ears hurt. They don't know they're in a plane. They don't know what the fuck's going on. My kids, by the grace of God, were so well behaved when I took them to Disney earlier this month. And it was because they just had the screen in front of them, just completely tuned them out. The thing is, you know what my kids aren't doing? Pissing on people, because they're not getting drunk. I'm a good dad. I don't let my kids get drunk. They shouldn't be drinking. They're way too young. So for all the shit that the kids get and the babies get for being, nuisances on the plane and spilling popcorn or whatever that Anthony Bass story was, there's a billion people that are fighting, that are pissing on people. You fucking people without kids, you're the real menaces in the air. Except for you, Glenny. You seem like you'd be a great time. And this is the thing, Glenny. I'm sure when the girls looked up and they saw Glenny, like young Glenny Balls, I seen that picture, you smiling next to the boob statue. You're a cute kid. You're like, it's just a price of going out in public. Like, you might get mustard on you.
Are you saying airlines right now too?
What do you mean?
What?
You say, are you mentioning people like seeing me on an airline because I'm a large gentleman?
No. What? You stop listening?
No, young Glenny. When you spilled the mustard. You're a cute kid. You're like, oh, like he didn't mean it. Like that's just like.
I remember them being pretty mad, but yeah.
Oh no.
Now, Glenny, me and you, when people see us on the airlines, they ain't happy.
That's not funny. I always try to make room. I learned you could for any fats flying on Delta, hit the aisle. You could back left of the rail
armrest.
Back left of the armrest. Hit the button. The armrest goes up, so you could give the person next to you a little more room. Lean to the left. That's just
that's a little thing. Yeah, that's courtesy right there. Big guys, and that's one of the reasons I'm very happy I don't fly, because you're in panic. Every big guy is looking for the row with the extra seat open next to him right until you have to check in and get your boarding pass, basically, just so then it's easier for you and the person next.
Oh my God, dude, maybe the most like sad I've ever felt was one time we were flying to Lake Tahoe from LA for a Sunday conversation, and our flight got canceled the day before, so we had to take a last minute Southwest, and Southwest is first come, first serve. So you're one of the last, me, Caleb, and Kelsey were one of the last few people to board the plane. And I literally felt like Forrest Gump getting on the bus.
Oh, yep. They're all looking at
I
you.
was literally Forrest Gump getting on the bus. It was so embarrassing.
You could
It's
sit
not
next
fun.
to me on a plane any day. I got extra room.
I appreciate that.
That's a good friend right there. That's a real good friend. And also, I just have to say this because we talked about drinking on a plane. I think that's a terrible idea, drinking before a plane, because anytime I hit turbulence, I'm thinking we're dead. This plane's going down. If I had a few cocktails in me and I'm getting that buzz, I am like damn near in tears, like wishing my family going to turn on my phone and off airplane mode and tell my family I love them because we're going down. I couldn't
You
handle
hear
it.
Roan's story about getting drunk on a plane this weekend?
No.
Roan was getting wine drunk on a plane watching the Sixers, and he said he heard a loud pop right outside his window. It was like going through a storm. He saw lightning and then heard a loud pop. And he was like, what the fuck was that? He said it sounded like a light bulb, like breaking, but louder. He sees someone at a bar the next day, I think in Austin. Him and Lil Sass were going to do some shows. And the lady comes up to him and she's like, do you recognize me? And he's like, yeah, I do. Like, what do I recognize you from? She's like, I was your flight attendant last night. And I don't know if I should tell you this, but we were struck by lightning right by your window. And the pilots lost control of the plane for a full minute. Roan is wine drunk watching the Sixers, and he said he's just giggling like, how great is this? We're bouncing up and down on the plane. Pilots had no control of the plane.
That's the opposite. Sometimes booze might make you feel good and you feel like nothing's
Yeah, I think that's the
nothing bad's
plus
gonna
side
happen.
of it.
Yeah, that is the plus side of it. Holy shit.
And he wouldn't have known if the flight attendant didn't just happen to run into him at a bar the next day.
Holy shit, got struck by lightning. God damn it, man. Fuck yeah. I'm so happy I don't have to fly. I don't have to fly anytime soon. Glenny probably is flying like after this is over. Which Glenny's travel escapades gonna take us into the after show right now. Shout out our boy Balls. He kept himself together. For the people that don't know, going into this, we had Glenny trying to find parking for like an hour. There was curses, there was exclamation points, all caps. And you came in, you did all right, Balls. You got a spot. I didn't realize you drove to the city when you come to Barstool sometimes.
So I normally don't. For some reason, every Wednesday I just do to torture myself, and I actually don't know why, but I just do. I think I literally do it to torture myself every Wednesday. It's my little guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Torture myself. I really don't know why. I truly don't. And today was probably the worst one I've had yet. And the thing today wasn't even really the traffic was bad. It was just all the stupid, you can't turn here during the fucking weekdays. If I could pull up a map of where I drove through in Manhattan, I would just love to just see how much I just drove in Manhattan for no reason in circles.
You texted us, you said you were having a mental breakdown.
And driving in the city too is stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. So I go to my normal lot full. Go to my other normal lot full. I went from, not people know this, I went from 59th Street Bridge to 35th and 10th to the Flatiron Building, back up to our, it was a lot.
And despite all that, he came in, he did a great job. You would have never known it. So shout out our boy Glenny, who I think has a little glow about him because he went to Billy Joel last night with Mincy. How is watching a concert with Mincy? Because I feel like that is a fucking experience within itself.
I'm going to say one thing about going to a concert with Mincy. Thank God there were the 4 seats to our left, to our right were open.
Is he a dancer?
He was bopping a little bit. He was bopping.
Yeah.
It was Billy Joel. It was Billy Joel, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal as always. The guy's a machine. But you know what the awkward thing though about Joel is too? It's definitely an older crowd. So you really you don't know when you're exactly. So he does like 22 songs, obviously all bangers. Then scenes, Piano Man, break, encore. So for scenes on, you're standing. That's a guarantee. But between then, you like don't know. And it makes for a very awkward experience because literally the people behind us, when they sat down, I heard them saying, we don't want to stand.
Oh, yeah.
So it's awkward. I've been saying for a while, Billy Joel should do like some sort of a young crowd section where the young people hang out.
Yeah.
That's a good call. That's a good
With Ben Mintz.
Yes. Something tell me Ben Mintz doesn't worry about if other people's want to stand or sit. He's just going to go, and the Mincy spirit is on the loose with that. Which, speaking of which, we almost buried the lead here. The Mincy 10K is taking place right now as we're recording this. Give me we're setting the number at 59 seconds and 59 milliseconds or whatever. Is he going to break the hour? Is Mincy breaking the hour?
So last night he mentioned to me that the park he's doing it is 0.2. It's a 0.2 mile park, so we just got to do 31 laps. I feel like that's better in the mind to be like, oh, I just got to go around this thing 31 times. And he said there wasn't not 10,000 people running with him. It's just going to be him. So I think he may be able to do it. He said he's going to put in his widespread panic and just run. It's going to be like Forrest Gump, just like the emo Forrest Gump. But we'll see what happens. I'm rooting for him.
I'm rooting for him, but I don't have as much faith because I heard he hasn't run at all since the original one, which is like, that seems like it would set your progress back. Now, in the original video, which they played on the yak, you could see he started behind the walkers. So like he had to maneuver his way in and out of these people, and he was only like 30 seconds past his time. So I think he physically is capable of doing it. I just don't know if he practiced for it today.
Yeah. Before I make my guess on the number here, Glenny, what was Mincy's dinner and drink situation at the Billy Joel concert last night?
He got a club soda. He doesn't drink. He got a club soda.
Feel good about that.
He did get a daily burger, which is it's a hefty burger. The burger at the Garden's like near an English muffin type bun, bacon, onion, jam, cheese. It's a fucking good burger.
I love the daily burger. Daily burger, fries, a large drink. They'll get you for $23.50 for that, but it is worth it.
It's worth
a good burger.
All right, I'm saying it. Mincy's going to crack the hour. He's going to do it because honestly, I didn't think he was going to come anywhere close to that time. And he had it like within, it was within his reach. It's like you said, the 31 laps, he kind of has that as a countdown, has his music going, and that boy is just powered to make Hogs for a Cause be a success. That's going to get him across that finish line, baby. So Ben Mintz, he makes the impossible possible. It's usually like a video that you're like, how is this going to end? And then it has 5 million views, and you're like, I didn't see that coming. He's the greatest. What did Becca call him? The greatest comedian of our generation without trying, or something like that. He's an absolute wonder in himself. So I'm going to say Mincy hits his goal. I don't know how it'll happen, but that club soda, like you said, that he's living clean, Mincy. And then the last thing, we got our NFL draft show tomorrow night. Giants, Commanders fans here online. Robbie, at this point, do you even care who you get as a in the draft? Or are you just happy Daniel Snyder is you've already won the draft?
Exactly. Dan Snyder's out, so I don't care who we get. I'll text PFT and Nate after the draft. I'll say, who did we get? Tell me about him. They'll tell me. That's all I need to know.
Glenny, how are we feeling about the draft as a Giants fan here?
Clem, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I'm not a draft guy. I don't even know what pick we have.
There's nothing wrong with that. I used to be a big draft guy, and I feel like the last few years it's just become such a industry, especially on Twitter. It's just constantly in my face. I've become sick of the draft. It's just, this is the first time, Glenny, in a long time too, where it's like we're not in the top I
was about to say, 10, if 15. I'm not in the top 10, I'm not even looking really.
It's kind of nice that we can just sit back and whatever happens, I can talk myself into a guy in the 20s basically every time. So I feel like everything's going to be all right, And
the thing with the draft too, I'm sure we're gonna have a wonderful show tomorrow night. Absolutely. But I'm just gonna say it. The front office probably knows better than what we know.
Yeah, that's what I always.
They probably know more than we know.
That's the best part of that. That's like my one theory. I'm like, I could watch any YouTube video of a guy, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be Hall of Famer, because everyone looks good in their own highlights videos when they have rap music playing in the background, right? You could put. I was gonna say me, Glenny, or Robbie. Glenny runs a 3.940. That's how he got his job here at Barstool. So,
Trent's highlight tape. I thought Trent could make the NFL after watching that tape.
Guys can't be touched by Roy Jones, can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved. But I don't know. I just can't get into the draft.
Yeah, that's why you have to watch the NFL draft show tomorrow night. It's going to be a blast. We have everyone coming in for it too. I know the Chicago guys said they're coming in. Mincy's obviously in town. I think Castellano, basically everyone out of town, if they can get in, they're going to go in, represent their teams. And it was always one of my favorite things. It's better. You can't really follow on Twitter because they spoil the picks on Twitter. And, I think everything's gotten kind of old with all the different ESPN, NFL Network stuff. So you just watch us, you watch all the idiocy that's going to go on. Stephen Shea is going to probably get pranked by Big Cat and go from there. What's up, Glenny?
Speaking of that, that's a good point. Who airs the draft? ESPN?
And NFL, they both do it, yeah.
Why don't they bar their reporters from spoiling it?
I think they've tried with NBA, obviously.
And it never, Woj found a way.
Woj went around it.
Yeah, he
But doesn't Woj work for ESPN?
Yeah, and they told him not to do it. And then he started being like, I'm getting strong feelings that so-and-so will maybe take so-and-so. And it was like, yeah.
Well, this is the problem, Glenny, is it's NFL.
Also get better ratings too?
So ESPN will do that, but then it's the guys who work for Yahoo or the guys who work for the idiots at Barstool will then spoil the picks, and then they have to keep up with the Joneses, or else they look like they're not informed.
It would be
And
cool if everybody could lay down their swords and just let the draft be the draft.
Yep, but they can't. So you know what they're going to do instead? Watch the NFL draft show tomorrow night at Barstool Sports. Going to be. I always say when the dozen tournaments going on, it's the best vibes in Barstool because everyone's here mixing it up in person. It's going to be that tomorrow night. I imagine we're going to get some celebs or some, cameos and stuff like that. It's always one of my favorite nights of the year here at Barstool. So check it out here. Get your Barstool Sportsbook. Get your props going. Get the BEC on, I think Friday's our next one. So be ready there. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.